He believes the public has the right to have all the truth, not just what's provided by the mainstream media. He was following his principles. He passionately believes in free speech, he said, freedom of the press, and his overwhelming desire is to expose the truth. The judge said that the breaches were not accidental, negligent, or merely reckless. They were deliberate, direct, and flagrant.
9 months in solitary confinement. That's the fate Tommy Robinson claims he's facing, backed by prison psychiatrists who warn of severe mental health consequences. But is this punishment or persecution? As figures like Nigel Farage and Kemi Badenoch weigh in, we're witnessing a seismic shift in the UK's political landscape. Join us as we navigate the murky waters of media manipulation, institutional failure, and a public desperate for answers. As Tommy Robinson languishes in solitary confinement, his claims of mental torture have ignited a firestorm of debate. Prison psychiatrists are sounding the alarm, warning of the devastating effects that prolonged isolation can have on mental health. It's not just anxiety and depression they're worried about. We're talking about a full-blown decline in overall mental well-being. But is this just par for the course when it comes to high-profile inmates? Or is there something more sinister at play? Critics of Robinson are quick to point out his checkered past. They argue that his history of contempt of court and other legal issues justifies the harsh treatment. After all, shouldn't someone with a record of flouting the law face stricter measures? It's a compelling argument, but it raises uncomfortable questions about the nature of punishment in our justice system. On the flip side, Robinson's supporters are crying foul. They see his treatment as nothing short of political persecution. In their eyes, Robinson is being punished not for his crimes, but for his outspoken views on grooming gangs.
For me, behind bars, the way I was treated, I was taken to a prison with quite a low Muslim population. What I'm known for is criticising Islam, so there's been many planned attempts to murder me and kill me in this country. Not seeing or speaking to anybody, and they used the reason that I was in danger. Now, they would have had risk assessments before I went there. I was purposely taken to be put in danger so that then that reason can be used to then put me on solitary confinement. And it took months before I got the opportunity to go before a judge. Once the judge heard what had happened in the trial, we found so many illegal and wrongdoings within this kangaroo court.
It's a narrative that's gaining traction, particularly among those who feel the establishment has failed to address these issues adequately. The debate has thrust UK prison policies on solitary confinement into the spotlight. While isolation is often justified on grounds of safety and security, there's growing concern about its ethical implications. Are we really rehabilitating prisoners, or are we causing more harm than good? The statistics paint a troubling picture. A significant number of inmates in UK prisons experience isolation as a form of punishment, raising red flags about human rights and mental health. It's not just about comfort. We're talking about serious psychological consequences. Experts warn that prolonged isolation can increase the risk of self-harm and suicidal thoughts. Is this really the best way to handle high-profile cases? As the controversy rages on, a larger question looms. Is Robinson's treatment about maintaining security, or is it an attempt to silence a dissenting voice? It's a debate that cuts to the heart of our democracy. Are we witnessing the necessary measures to protect society, or the erosion of free speech? The case of Tommy Robinson has become a litmus test for the UK's justice system. As politicians and public figures weigh in, the lines between punishment and persecution are becoming increasingly blurred. One thing's for certain: this debate is far from over, and its implications reach far beyond the walls of Robinson's prison cell. Elon Musk's unexpected support for Tommy Robinson has sent shockwaves through UK politics, igniting a firestorm of debate and reshaping the political landscape. Musk's criticism of the UK government's inaction on the grooming gang scandal has amplified existing tensions and thrust Robinson's case into the international spotlight. It's a move that's left many wondering, is this the tipping point for a seismic shift in British politics? Nigel Farage and his Reform UK party have wasted no time capitalising on the controversy. Farage, never one to shy away from a political opportunity, has hailed Musk as a hero and suggested that his involvement could provide a blueprint for political change in the UK. It's a savvy move that's resonating with voters who feel abandoned by mainstream parties. But is Farage simply riding the wave of public discontent, or does he genuinely have a plan to address these complex issues? The Conservative Party, meanwhile, finds itself caught in an increasingly uncomfortable position. Kemi Badenoch's call for a national inquiry into the grooming gang scandal has exposed deep fissures within the party. On one side, we have those eager to align with Musk's criticisms and push for action. On the other, party members who fear being seen as too sympathetic to Robinson's cause. It's a political tightrope that could have far-reaching consequences for the Tories' electoral prospects. Labour's deafening silence on the matter speaks volumes. Are they paralysed by indecision, or is this a calculated move to avoid alienating any segment of their voter base? Their reticence has left a vacuum in the political discourse, one that Reform UK seems all too eager to fill. Robinson's imprisonment has become a lightning rod for broader political narratives. It's no longer just about one man's legal troubles. It's become a referendum on free speech, the handling of the grooming gang scandal, and the perceived failures of the political establishment. The case has tapped into a deep vein of public frustration, forcing politicians to reckon with issues they've long avoided. Public opinion appears to be shifting, with some segments of the population expressing sympathy for Robinson. This is particularly true among right-leaning voters who view his imprisonment as politically motivated. It's a sentiment that's reflected in the growing support for Reform UK. But is this a temporary blip or a sign of a more permanent realignment in British politics? As we look ahead to upcoming elections, the impact of Robinson's case looms large. Political analysts suggest it could significantly influence party strategies and voter sentiment. Reform UK, positioning itself as the champion of free speech and government accountability, stands to gain the most. But with the political landscape in flux, could we see other parties adopting more hardline stances to compete? The Tommy Robinson saga has laid bare the deep-seated tensions and unresolved issues plaguing UK politics. It's exposed the growing divide between the political class and a significant portion of the electorate. As the debate rages on, one thing is clear. British politics is at a crossroads, and the path forward is anything but certain. Tommy Robinson's case has become a litmus test for free speech in the UK, revealing deep-seated tensions between national security concerns and individual rights. Legal experts argue that his imprisonment raises uncomfortable questions about how we handle controversial figures in our justice system. Are we truly upholding the principles of free speech, or are we selectively silencing voices deemed too problematic? The unresolved tension between public safety and personal liberties is palpable. On one hand, there's a legitimate need to protect society from potentially harmful rhetoric. On the other, we risk setting a dangerous precedent by imprisoning individuals for their views, no matter how inflammatory. It's a delicate balance that the UK government seems to be struggling to maintain. As the debate rages on, what's next for Tommy Robinson and UK politics? His case has exposed deep fissures in British society, forcing us to confront uncomfortable truths about our justice system, media landscape, and political institutions. Will Robinson's imprisonment lead to meaningful reforms, or will it simply deepen existing divisions? The answer to this question could shape the future of British democracy for years to come.